All right. Hey, everyone. How's it going? All right. Thanks for being here. Quite a lot of people. All right. Nice. All right. Setting your dot scores. Nice. Awesome. I hope you're learning a lot. That is cool. Nice. All right. So, yep. GDC week is currently ongoing, and Unity has just published the 2025 GDC roadmap. I haven't seen it yet, so let's look at it and see what are they going to show. I'm very curious if they're going to at least talk about or mention Unity 7. It was in Unite last year. Yeah, right. Unite last year in November that they started talking about the next generation of Unity. So they talked a little bit about that, but that was all very it's all very in the far future. I mean, Unity 7 I think is only coming out at the earliest next year, so 2026. So yeah, back then they just gave some guidelines. Now I'm curious to see if they're going to show some more about that. And obviously, I'm curious to see some more details about things coming in the future this year. So like 6.1, 6.2, what are they going to do with that? 6.2 has auto LOD. Oh, is that right? Interesting. I must say I haven't really kept up too much with what is coming in the future. I've been I've been way too busy in the present, so I'm very curious. Yeah, very curious to see this. It should be interesting. So yeah. We haven't even got 6.1. Yeah, 6.1 is supposed to come out like, yeah, actually, I think it was right now. Like in March, April, 6.1 was supposed to come out. And then eventually 6.2 at the end of this year. And then Unity 7 possibly by next year. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. Hey, Aztec Games. Hey. So yeah, 6.1 is much faster. Oh, is it? Oh, well, that's good to know. I mean, I haven't used that at all. So I'm definitely curious to see how it's going to be. All right, so let's go. Let me just make sure that the sound is working. So let me just hit on play a little bit just to make sure. Okay, I think the levels like that are good. And let me make like this. It's a bit okay, something like this, just to make it a bit more visible. Or actually, yeah, actually, I think like this might be better. So if I over that one, there you go, like this, a nice little window. Then it won't just like me. Nice. And then game. Okay. Oh yeah, that one by Bennett Foddy. That should be interesting. Oh, that was nice. Oh, there's Neil Austin Rhythm. I didn't know that. Okay. Wow. I gotta say that these little highlight reels, show reels, whatever you call them, I gotta say these are always really awesome. It's always really impressive just to see how many games, how many interesting games they show in a very short amount of time. Like you can see how the engine is being used to make things that look like AAA games, other things that look like casual games, things that look like mobile games, massive games, open world games, small games, adventure games, and so on. Yeah, the variety is really one of the things that I most enjoy about watching from these show reels. It is always super impressive. Nice.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unity Engine roadmap. I'm
Wait,
Laurent
did the
Guibert.
audio go down?
I lead a team of product managers at Unity. And I'm
Wait a second. Something's wrong. Why am I not hearing audio? Why did it?
excited to be with you. Note that
Oh, I think it might be my headphones that are kind of messed up. Sometimes they get like slightly disconnected.
contains future plans.
Okay, good. So now it, yeah, it was just my headphones. All right.
Hi everyone, welcome to the
Hello.
Unity Engine roadmap. I'm Laurent Guibert. I lead a team of product managers at Unity, and I'm excited to be with you again at GDC to talk about what we can do to help you create amazing games. Before we get started, note that this presentation contains future plans. Please do not make purchasing decisions based on future plans because they can change at any time. Unity's roadmap is all about you. The information we're going to share isn't just about us telling you where we're headed. It's about starting a conversation. We want to make sure the investment we are doing truly aligns with what you need. So as we go through the content, we encourage you to jump in Unity's discussion so you can react, share your thoughts, ask questions, and let us know what resonates or what you'd like to see more of. We'd like to start by taking a moment to talk about who we are, and more importantly, why we show up to work every day. We want to help you bring your ideas to life successfully. And to do this better, we are changing Unity in important ways. Unity is the engine that allows you to reach the widest audience. This is why we're supporting the widest range of platforms and doubling down on working with our platform partners to be there on day one for your games.
Yeah, right away, this screen definitely showcases one of the best benefits of Unity, the whole thing of how it's actually an end-to-end platform, so you can make like prototypes, you can take it to the end, publish it, you can continue doing things post-launch, you can do live service games and so on. So yeah, you can reach all kinds of players everywhere on any device, and yeah, make games as easily as possible, then support live games and so on. And the whole thing technically through quality, through product verification. So yeah, pretty nice slide to showcase basically one of the biggest benefits of Unity is how it's not just an engine, but it's actually an engine with a ton of things, which is always awesome because, I mean, basically it means that you as developer don't have to make a ton more work in order to make your game on a different platform, to reach a different type of audience, to have different types of games. Yeah, it supports quite a lot of things. So yeah, nice screen.
Unity is the engine that allows you to reach the most players with the best player experience. This means we need to keep focused on maximizing the performance you get on all of the devices you target.
Right away, always a big fan anytime performance is mentioned. So, so yeah, definitely a fan of that focus.
Unity is the flexible engine that bends to your unique ideas for the most engaging games. This makes us push back the limits of our workflows with every release. Unity supports you all the way from creation to launching your game and expanding your player community. This is why we're evolving Unity by accelerating our native support of multiplayer and live ops capabilities. We can only get there with predictable quality and stability verified in production. We are partnering more and more with you as a co-developer on many games and use this expertise as a test bed for new capabilities. Marc-André will tell you more.
Thanks, Laurent.
So yeah, let's start. Nice little overview. So yeah, hope they decide to change pricing on building for consoles. Is that still a Unity Pro sort of thing? Yeah, I think that is one thing. Definitely makes it a bit trickier for like solo devs and small devs to publish on console. If you have to pay, what is like, I don't even know. What is the price of Unity Pro right now? Actually, no, Unity Pro pricing. Is it the, I don't even remember what is the current price. Okay, $2,000 per year. So yeah, if you got a small indie dev of like 5 people team, then you got to pay $10,000 to publish on console. So yeah, definitely would be nice to be that a little bit more affordable for indie devs. But I guess for that, I would say that the best strategy is use the free personal version to publish on Steam. Then if you find success on Steam, then you can hopefully afford to then go into the console space. So yeah, if I was a indie with a team and limited budget, yep, that's what I would do. First go on Steam, and yeah, then use that. But yeah, definitely would be nice for them to be a bit more affordable. Let's see.
I'm Marc-André Ferguson. I'm also a Director of Product Management at Unity. Our goal is to make the most stable and performant engine for you to build your games with. To make sure this happens and to keep ourselves accountable, we eat our own dog food. With our production verification process, we've been partnering with game studios that are operating at massive production scales.
Oh, interesting. So this is the thing that they call where they have mentioned this a few times, although I think this is the first time they're giving it some kind of brand, production verification, where basically there's a lot of people that ask Unity, why don't you make a game yourself? And their answer is always, well, we actually work with developers and basically get a lot of direct feedback that way. So they don't have to make the games themselves. They just work with developers give them feedback, and then they work on that. So yeah, I guess it's nice to finally have some kind of branding for that. So production verification. Okay. So Pokemon Sleep, yep. Second Dinner. Is that the Marvel Snap? Yeah, I think so. And then these, I'm not sure, but yeah, there are definitely quite a lot of huge games made with Unity. So as long as they have a direct communication with those developers, hopefully they can use that feedback to make things quite a bit better.
And in
for
some
everyone.
cases, we've even begun acting as a co-developer on some of the games you know and love, like Phasmophobia from Kinetic Games.
Oh, what does that mean? Code developed. Okay, not sure, but that sounds interesting.
Over the years, we've worked with Second Dinner on Marvel Snap, and more recently with Black Salt on Dredge.
Dredge. Nice.
Our studio productions developers also work closely with the team for Pokemon Sleep and with Lightboxer and Trip to validate readiness of new platforms like Android XR. Many of the projects that we're currently working on are still under embargo, so we can't really talk about them just yet, but we'll be happy to share the news when we can.
Did he say it's dog food? No. Dog fooding is a term of using your own tools. So Unity using Unity to build some kind of game, build something that is called dog fooding. So not literally eating dog food, no. Actually, I'm not sure where that term started. Definitely sounds a bit strange to someone who doesn't know it, but yeah, so not eating dog food, but trying out your own tools. Hey, boys, obrigado. All right.
Of course, this didn't just happen overnight. It's the result of your feedback. You told us you wanted us to put Unity to the test in real-world production environments. So we rolled up our sleeves and used our own tools to build games at scale. This helped our developers identify performance and stability improvements in ways we couldn't before. Our ultimate goal? Take everything we've learned and make the engine better. For all of you, for the entire Unity community.
Yeah, again, that really is the goal. So yeah, it's awesome. I think this is something they've always been doing. So I guess it's good that now they are actively talking about how they've been doing, because yeah, that is something they should do as much as possible, because yeah, working with the engine in production, that's how you figure out all of the various edge cases that don't really show up when you're just making prototypes. So being involved in all these massive games, yeah, that's a very nice thing.
Through production verification, we aim to raise the level of quality we offer and that you can expect, so that you may offer the best experience possible to your audience on any device. It's a collaborative process that we're really proud of because it's helping us serve you better. To everyone who's given us feedback over the years, thank you. Your input drives the work we do every single day. We released Unity 6.0 in October of last year, and it was downloaded close to 3 million times already. Wow. You might have noticed we're taking a fresh approach with Unity 6 update releases. If you're just starting a production, we're happy to confirm that you can trust 6.0 to be supported as an LTS for 2 years, or 3 if you're a Unity Enterprise or Industry subscriber. As you would expect from any other LTS, bugs fixed in updates will also be fixed in 6.0, and you can expect more LTS releases in the future. Of course, it's not just about bug fixes and performance improvements. We're rolling out a series of update releases packed with exciting new features for you to explore with confidence. You can see an example of how you may get your hands on new goodies in the near term. And before you try to guess ship dates, let me say on the record, this is just an illustration.
Okay.
So speaking of
So yeah, just an illustration, but yeah, apparently so 6.1 is supposed to come out in the future. I think at some point they mentioned something like March and April, so yeah, I would assume that 6.1 comes out at some point. I mean, it's been beta for quite a while, so, but yeah, something that apparently some people don't yet know, which is how Unity 6 is on LTS. Like just the other day, I answered a comment of someone who was using Unity 22 because they thought that Unity 6 was still in development. But nope, it's an LTS. It's a long-term stable version. So yep, if you're making projects, then yeah, that's a great version to use. So if you're still using 22, then if you're about to launch your game, then sure, stick with that one. But if you're still a bit far out in development, then yeah, Unity 6. It's the main version that I've been using for the past few months, like, well, since it came out, so like 6 months now at this point. And yeah, it has been very stable. It has been quite nice. So I definitely quite enjoy it, yeah.
Record, this is just an illustration.
Sure.
So speaking of update releases, Unity 6.1 is just around the corner. The beta is already live, and many of you are discovering what it has to offer. If you haven't upgraded to 6.0 yet, no worries. We'll guide you through its core benefits and give you a glimpse of the powerful features coming with 6.1 in the foreseeable future. Today, we'll really focus on what our teams are working on now. And as Laurent pointed out, we want your feedback on the direction we are taking. The badges that you see here will show up on our slides. The gray boxes show features that are now available in our previous versions, like Unity 2021 and 2022. The blue boxes indicate areas of improvement in 6.0, Unity 6.1, and a version of 6 coming soon. The gold box notes a future version of Unity. As we go through sections on the roadmap, we'll talk about things in that order.
I definitely want to see what is coming in that future. Very curious.
What's out now in 6.0, what's coming soon in 6.1 and 6.x, and what you can expect in the future. As Laurent mentioned it earlier, only Unity gives you access to the broadest audience in gaming, since we support over 20 platforms, enabling you to connect with players no matter where they are in the world. 6.0 saw the release of mobile web support, giving you the ability to run your Unity games anywhere the web exists, including mobile browsers. Your games can run embedded in a web view inside native apps, or use our progressive web app template to make your games behave as a native app, even with its own shortcuts. Additionally, in 6.1, you now have access to web GPU support. You will now be able to leverage compute rendering techniques like compute shaders, GPU skinning, VFX graph, along with even more GPU-driven rendering techniques currently in development. So
yeah, this is definitely very impressive. I mean, mobile web support, that is something that apparently is a huge deal that I didn't quite know much about, but I do remember, I remember vividly when this was announced. I think it was like 2 years ago. I think I was at sitting at the audience at Unite when they announced this. There were tons of collabs, so apparently it's super important. I'm not very familiar with webs. I'm not very familiar with mobile, so that is why I don't know exactly what are the limitations with mobile web, but yeah, apparently a lot of people like it, so that's great. And web GPU, that is another thing that sounds really impressive. I mean, being able to use GPU, which gives you quite a lot more power in the web, that seems a really awesome thing. It just makes me wonder, because a few years ago, there was quite a lot of talk about WebAssembly and those kinds of things and how that was going to boost things. But then in the past few years, it stopped talking about that quite a bit. So I do wonder if this is related, or if WebAssembly kind of, that was supposed to be the next big thing, then suddenly just I stopped hearing about it. Although to be honest, I don't really follow the web news all that much. So I'm curious if this is going to be the next thing, and I'm curious if it is really going to bring forth the vision of an awesome web-based games, things that could happen. Because just yesterday I was on the Unity live stream, and yeah, we were talking about web as a platform and how, for me, since I started making Flash games, for me, Flash games were really awesome. And when Flash died, I thought that was a really terrible thing. I think the world lost quite a lot by the web, by Flash going down, basically losing all those web games. And personally, for me, as a game dev, it really helped me quite a lot making Flash games. You could make some tiny Flash games, publish them, get a ton of feedback, and learn a lot. So yeah, I would love it if something similar to the Flash age came back. And who knows, perhaps something like WebGPU, perhaps that might actually bring it back. So that would be interesting. So yeah, definitely curious to see all these benefits. Those should be quite interesting, yeah. Yeah, I spoke about it in the live stream. It feels like it might be a good place for games to go. Yep, I do hope that the web does become quite a bit more viable. At least right now, it's already quite viable, but yeah, hopefully in the future, that should be really nice. Video about Kickstarter, Indiegogo. Nope, sorry, I don't know much about those. I can't really identify what is a project that is likely to be finished or not. So yeah, probably not going to go through that. Okay, instant games.
Players can immerse themselves in complex scenes with stunning details. And finally, as announced at Unite last year, we have partnered with Meta to build support for their instant games platform. Here, users can find and play games instantly on Facebook and inside Messenger applications. With an audience of hundreds of millions of gamers, it's a fantastic new opportunity for Unity developers to participate in. You can get started on development for this platform in 6.1.
Oh.
We even built tools to drive your success here, like our new code stripping tool, to dramatically cut load times on your instant games, getting players engaged faster than ever before. The web has always been one of Unity's most popular platforms, and I really look forward to seeing what amazing experiences you will bring to this fast-evolving ecosystem.
I gotta say, I'm looking at the little GIFs over there showing you all of the instant games. It is quite impressive just how good they actually look. I mean, these are technically supposed to be instant games, meaning games that are extremely tiny that load pretty much instantly. So the fact that these look relatively complex in terms of assets, that means they've definitely improved quite a lot. Optimization on build times, optimization, load times, download speeds, download sizes. So yeah, it's personally, I'm probably not very interested in building instant games, but I'm guessing all the tech that they develop for that is then going to help games of all kinds. So yeah, the fact that they look quite complex looks quite interesting.
Web GPU really shines in Stratton Studio's fantastic Project Prismatic, which is just launched. This case study takes advantage of the unique benefits of Web GPU with an emphasis on compute to parallelize heavy calculations on the GPU and improve both performance and fidelity. The team also used VFX Graph to render complex visual effects, which helps conserve memory by reducing the need for pre-rendered assets.
Yeah, right away, it's really impressive how this is a browser game. Again, back in my day, browser games meant 2D, simple sprite games. Now you got full-on 3D, all kinds of effects, all kinds of particles, and apparently all runs in a simple browser. That is really impressive tech. There's no way that game is on the browser. I'm pretty sure they have published like a beta build of that, so yeah, I do think this is generally on the browser, which is generally extremely impressive.
In 6.0, we continue to expand and invest in simplifying your multi-platform journey with the release of build profiles in a platform browser.
Okay.
The reception and feedback on these was fantastic, but we're not stopping there. Coming in 6.1, you'll be able to install multiple profiles with a single click, each pre-configured with settings for different use cases. Additionally, you'll also be able to override options for more settings, like global graphics configuration and the ability to configure quality levels for each profile. We're also adding new workflow enhancements like recommended and required packages. So let's talk about our investment in Android. With larger screens and folding phones becoming more popular, Unity is leveraging the latest Android APIs under the hood to help your games to look and feel the best across every screen. You'll now be able to subscribe and react to real-time configuration changes from C#, such as orientation, screen layout and dimensions, as well as hinge presence and angle information. With Android 15, Google introduced support for 16 kilobyte memory page sizes, and we soon expect to see handset manufacturers launching such devices in the market. According to Google's research, there are noticeable performance gains on apps and games that utilize this new memory mode of up to 10% improvement. We're excited to announce that the Unity engine is now 16 kilobyte page size ready. Not only that, but we've also added a warning system to the editor that will alert you if native packages or plugins in your project are not compiled against this new 16 kilobyte page size. We've also added this feature to Unity 2021 and 2022.
I gotta say, yeah, like I said, mobile is not my my area of expertise, so I have no idea what exactly this means. Support for 16 kilobyte devices. What exactly is a 16 kilobyte device? I mean, page size, that's like data pages, so I'm not sure, but hey, sure, seems like a nice bonus. And yeah, foldables. It is quite interesting. I actually do wonder, I don't know the stats. What are the stats for how many foldable phones are there? Like, as a developer, does it make sense to add extra features specifically for foldables? I actually don't know. I mean, technically those are very expensive phones. So I guess if you're making the kind of mobile games that is really trying to attract people who are really going to spend on your free-to-play game, then I guess perhaps it makes sense to target those kind of people because these phones are still pretty expensive. So if someone has it, chances are they've got money to spend. So maybe in that sense, even if the percentage is small, maybe it makes sense to develop for it. Again, I don't know much about the mobile market, so yeah, there's no sense making anything on phone device. Okay, sure, interesting. Most people working on Steam PC mobile or other. I mean, mobile is absolutely massive. So objectively speaking, in just sheer raw numbers, yeah, mobile is probably the most popular platform. But for me personally, yeah, very much just a Steam PC developer and pretty much nothing. And yeah, foldables are indeed a nightmare for UI designs. Definitely makes it quite a bit tricky. Okay.
The Vulkan API also introduces exciting ways to improve CPU and GPU performance on Android, providing access to modern GPU features such as native render passes, graphics jobs, and variable rate shading. Vulkan is recommended for modern Android devices, which provide sufficient driver support. To accommodate this, 6.0 introduced a new device filtering mechanism, which ensures Vulkan is utilized on devices with robust driver support. The filtering conditions can be extended in the player settings based on device data such as the GPU vendor, API, and driver versions. Device filtering is improved in 6.1 and is used to control the graphics and jobs threading mode. This allows you to benefit from Vulkan multi-threading on premium Android devices for additional CPU performance. With this improvement, Vulkan graphics jobs are also promoted as production ready for Android.
All right, nice. I mean, every time I hear about Vulkan, technically it is very performant, so it seems like it's a very slow transition to kind of get there. But at least it's good that at least on high-end mobile devices, graphics jobs are now available because that is definitely very... I remember trying that out when I tried the Unity 6 features, and I remember that was one of the ones that gave quite a nice boost. So yeah, getting this on high-end mobile device, that should help quite a lot of games perform quite nicely, yeah. Which size is the memory allocation size? So I guess you've got a bigger allocation size, so more efficient memory, perhaps? Perhaps that's... Yeah, I get that it's the memory page size. I'm just not 100% sure I understand what are the benefits, which I would assume is that, probably performance on memory. So either way, all these sound nice. All right.
Now let's talk about Android XR, Google's new operating system, bringing Android to the world of spatial computing. Google has partnered with Unity to ensure they want support for this new platform and bring the best possible experience to developers. In 6.1, we focused on delivering a familiar development experience, integrating Unity's cross-platform tools like AR Foundation and the XR Interaction Toolkit. Additionally, Android XR's Open XR conformance means it supports the common XR extensions used across platforms today. With our comprehensive templates and a dedicated build profile, setting up your project is fast and easy so you can focus on building. You take advantage of eye-gazed foveated rendering and URP space warp for smoother, more efficient rendering. With these updates, Android XR makes it easier than ever to develop immersive, high-performance experiences. We're also bringing tons of new features to our MetaQuest development experience. 6.0 improved XR graphics performance with key optimizations such as application space warp and per-pass foveation, which can improve GPU performance by up to 45%. 6.1 introduced additional optimizations that further improve performance. Space warp is now compatible with custom shader graphs. Multi-view regions, or MVPVV, is also observed to reduce GPU times by up to 11%. Build profiles are also available to simplify configurations for projects targeting Quest platforms. 6.1 also brings features that enhance the immersion of mixed reality experiences on Quest. These include occlusion, which enables more seamless blending of digital content in the physical world, and a feature that enables boundaryless experiences on Quest.
Gotta say, this little thing over here seems really impressive. Basically, it is correctly identifying that there's some glass over there and actually shows the thing behind it. That used to be pretty much impossible in the first generations of like VR pass-through AR. So yeah, it's really impressive to see the tech continuing to improve. When it comes to the topic of VR, it's always an interesting one how, depending on your context, depending on what were your expectations, it might seem like VR is dead, or VR is growing very slowly, but still effectively growing. So yeah, it's one thing that definitely did not match up all the hype of like 10 years ago when some people thought VR was going to be the only thing in the future. But no, it is not the future, but it is a parallel path, parallel to flat screen games. And yeah, it's nice to see it continuously getting improvement. Yeah, this one seems very interesting. I mean, I imagine tech over there must have been quite complex to get that working. Basically, you've got a virtual thing and a physical thing, and you've got to identify this physical material is meant to be transparent, and this thing is meant to be behind that. So yeah, in terms of tech, very impressive. So yeah, I hope to continue seeing VR getting more and more improvements.
So looking ahead, we want to help developers build even more connected mixed reality experiences. The multiplayer mixed reality template helps developers jump right into build connected experiences. Additionally, we're bringing to developers shared persistent anchors that enable users to have richer interactions with each other and for users to have more physically contextualized experiences. Unity 6.0 introduces a range of improvements to the performance and stability of DirectX 12. We've even promoted it as the default for graphics in Unity 6.1.
Oh, nice. Default. That's good. Because yeah, quite a lot of games are still using DX11, even though DX12 has been getting quite a lot of improvements. So the fact that it's now a default in 6.1, that alone should be nice. Should basically help a lot more games be more performed by default. That's nice.
To improve CPU performance, Unity 6.1 introduces the new split graphics job threading mode, which is supported on DX12 for Windows and Xbox, both in the editor and the player. This allows us to submit commands to the GPU much faster, especially for complex projects with many draw calls. When profiling our samples, as well as game projects, we see up to 40% reduction in CPU time.
Nice.
Another improvement is the introduction of DX12 PSO caching to greatly reduce rendering stutters at runtime. The new graphics state collection API can be used to perform PSO tracing in warm-up. We recommend you use this to create and cache any required PSOs, ideally during scene loading and level transitions. With 6.1, we can now benefit from API-level PSO caching for DX12. This can effectively minimize rendering stutters and reduce the maximum frame time by up to 75%. 6.1 also introduces many improvements to ray tracing functionality and performance. Solid angle culling can be used to avoid processing instances that are too small or too distant, improving CPU performance by up to 60%. Various optimizations to memory usage were introduced, such as BLAS compaction and a new memory allocator, resulting in up to 75% reduction in ray tracing memory usage. 6.1 introduces support for compute-driven ray tracing, allowing you to ray trace a huge amount of objects with very little CPU overhead. And now let's take a look at Xbox console. Okay,
so in general, more rendering performance, always nice. I mean, like I said in the video where I covered the rendering improvements in Unity 6, for me, I am not a graphics programmer, so I don't know much about graphics programming specifically. So it's awesome to have like little checkboxes just tick and everything runs quite a bit faster. So yeah, I really like seeing this. So yeah, more options where basically everything runs faster without me having to do any special magic. That's always
console
awesome.
And PC development. We know that in those critical moments right before shipping, you may be required to use a newer games development kit for submission, but you may be at a stage where you probably don't wish to upgrade your engine version to do that. Well, we added the ability to change the GDK that the engine uses to build your Xbox console builds, as well as change the version of the GDK your PC builds use to make API calls without upgrading the engine. And not just that. For those that tried to use Xgame Save Files API on the Xbox consoles, but found that it conflicted with player prefs where Xgame Save is used instead, now we enable you to change the Save API player prefs uses so that you can use the Save API of choice that works for your games. And finally, with the new Microsoft GDK packages, we're also enabling you to encrypt your package with a stable key. This is available for Xbox on PC with Xbox consoles support coming soon. As you can see, we're deeply invested in making sure all of your games run on as many platforms as we can support so that you may reach the widest audience possible.
It's insane for console devs. This version issue is a huge problem. But like the one where apparently the GDK is linked to a Unity version, that seems strange. But yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, this sounds very useful. And the thing with Xgame save files and player prefs, yeah, these sound... it's an area that I don't have much expertise in, but yeah, these sound like meaningful, if not flashy improvements, which is awesome. I mean, it's always great to see that they are focused on things that actually improve the lives of developers as opposed to just doing things that are flashy. So great improvements, nice.
Laurent will now touch base on how we're optimizing performance on all of these.
You're acting like I know what in the world this guy is saying. I mean, that all depends on what is your expertise. Like for me, my expertise is not consoles or mobile. So yeah, I also don't understand too much, but in general, sounds like a nice improvement. So yeah, but yeah, definitely want to see some more in the future, talking about more PC, Steam specific things.
Thanks, Marc-André.
Hey, Laurent.
So, we want to guarantee you can reach the most players on all of those platforms with the best player experience. And this requires reaching the performance you need on the device you target. For those of you who haven't migrated yet, Unity 6.0 released with faster rendering. When the CPU is the bottleneck, GPU resident drawer could get you to the frame rate you need. When the bottleneck is in the pixel shader, features such as the spatial temporal post-processing, or STP, can help. Such features can address the performance needs of stylized games like Harold Halibut from Slowbro. Unity's graphics team worked with them to test several Unity 6.0 features in their production environment, and Harold Halibut launched with visual powered by our brand new lighting and upscaling tech. Now, Unity 6.
So yeah, basically, so far, lots of tiny performance improvements. Tiny, but great. So yeah, like I was saying a while ago, so they're not a lot of flashy stuff, but very good things in the back end. So again, a lot of people, or most people I would say, are constantly talking about for improvements in performance, stability, and so on. And yeah, it seems like that's exactly what they're focusing on. So yeah, so far, nice.
That one enhances URP with the new Deferred Plus renderer, improving GPU performance with cluster-based light culling and mobile-optimized render passes for better efficiency and battery life. It also introduces variable rate shading, or VRS, for fine control over shading fidelity, supported on Android, PC, Xbox, and PS5 Pro. It ships alongside a new example project to showcase VRS optimizations. Unity introduces faster iteration workflows with new shader configuration settings, reducing shader build times by up to 50% with dynamic branching fog, and up to 25% with LOD crossfade dithering stencil mode. Coming soon, MeshLOD streamlines asset optimization with compact, automated LOD generation in editor for both static and skin meshes, minimizing your reliance on external tools.
Oh, nice. So this is what someone in chat was talking about, how it's got a new LOD system on apparently 6.2 or whatever is 6 in the future. That does seem really nice. Yeah, basically having all your mesh. So I guess this is kind of their sort of answer to Nanite, even though as far as I know, Nanite is limited only to static meshes, I think. I'm not sure on that, but over here they are showcasing some kind of system that apparently even works for automatically generating LODs even on skin meshes. So yeah, sounds like a very nice system. As far as I know, I'm not an artist, I'm not a 3D modeler, but as far as I know, making LODs is like the bane of every artist. So yeah, if they can improve that process even by a little bit, I think that is going to be a very nice benefit. And over here, yeah, going from 81 million triangles automatically down to 4.5 million, and visually, the whole thing looks the same. That seems quite nice. And I would like the opportunity to write code in C++. You can, you just have to make a DLL. But yeah, you can write your code in C++, compile it onto DLL, place that DLL in the Unity's plugin folder, and that will be loaded into Unity, and you can talk with it. So yeah, you can't really do it natively, but you can do it like that, and works quite nicely.
Optimization is sometimes about making it like 100 times faster. Sentis is our tool for on-device local AI model inference. It's great for smaller models that need to run directly on the device. We just released accelerated inference on all Windows DirectX 12 platforms, enabling significantly faster inference, so you can get more models running performantly on more devices. So for example, this depth detection model running on camera frames can now run twice faster on a PC, down from 5 milliseconds to about 2.5 milliseconds. Getting the right performance is also about avoiding bad configurations. Project Auditor ships as an official package in 6.1 and works with all supported versions of Unity. It's a static analysis tool designed to make it easier for you to find and address issues in your Unity project.
Okay, nice. So apparently it seems like the slides are broken, because I'm pretty sure he's talking about something really awesome. The Project Auditor Unity, a really fascinating package that they made, and apparently this is going to be a built-in package. This was a fascinating package, which I have to say, the only reason why I know about it was I saw it. Where did I see it? The Unity Project Auditor, which was a really fascinating, yeah, there you go, by GitAmend, really awesome channel. I definitely recommend you follow it if you don't. But yeah, basically I only found out about this really awesome tool through his channel. I have no idea how he found it, because I did not know this existed. But yeah, this seems like a really awesome thing. Like it says, Project Auditor, so basically helps you automatically find all kinds of errors and issues in your project, and basically shows you a really nice list of all the things that you have potentially to fix. So yeah, apparently over here the screen for some reason didn't update, but yeah, that's what he's telling about, which is a really fascinating package. So the fact that it's going to be a built-in package, that seems awesome. Again, I have no idea how GitAmend found out about that package. I had no idea about it, so I have no idea when they mentioned it, but over here, nice, yeah, great to see it coming in. Yeah, definitely a really nice channel. If you like Unity, definitely go follow it. So yeah, he's talking about that over here.
All support is also about avoiding bad configurations. Project Auditor ships as an official package in 6.1 and works with all supported versions of Unity. It's a static analysis tool designed to make it easier for you to find and address issues in your Unity project.
Nice.
It analyzes scripts, assets, project settings, and builds, providing clear insights into potential problems. Click the button and you'll get a structured report highlighting where you can improve, along with guidance on how to resolve issues, making it easier to optimize the quality and performance of your game. We're also working towards bringing some of the same insights into the Unity profiler as well.
Oh.
If you get stuck trying to decide where should you try to reduce your C# memory allocations, or which function are costing you most time across your profiler capture, the summary view highlights the most expensive part of your capture, guiding you towards performance problems and suggesting how to fix them. ECS for Unity, our implementation of the Entity Component System architecture, is getting consolidated with some API in Entities 1.4, including the replacement of Entities for Each, Job with Code, and iAspect. We're still maintaining support between 2022 LTS and 6.0 for now. ECS 1.4 includes optimizations, many fixes, enhanced editor workflows, and expanded documentation. Moving forward, we're also boosting the overall scalability and execution speed of the job system by reducing thread stalls, scheduling overhead, and worker idle time. A new Unity profiler view is also in development to give deeper insights into job dependencies, ECS data flow, and performance bottlenecks.
Okay, I gotta say, what he said in the beginning was the most interesting thing, which is how with, the replacement of entities for each, which makes sense because that was meant to be deprecated for quite a while. Job.with code, yeah, that makes sense. That was also meant to be deprecated. But iAspect, that is interesting because aspects were something that was really interesting, but at some point they mentioned in the forums that they were not going to continue with it because apparently it broke some things on their backend on the entire source generation sort of thing. So they were thinking about doing something to replace it, but they haven't really talked much about it. So I do wonder, I guess I gotta go research a bit more about NT's 1.4 to see, have they come up with a replacement for iAspect? Because aspects were really awesome things. Basically how you can take a collection of like a bunch of components, like 5 different components, like a transform, move speed, and input component, and create an aspect that represents a player, and that basically includes all those components. So it was a really awesome thing for basically eliminating a ton of code duplication. So I thought that was a really awesome thing, but apparently it kind of broke with their source generation. So I'm very curious to see what exactly they're going to replace it with. And apparently in 1.4, which are saying 6.x. So apparently just continued improvement. But yeah, definitely, I gotta go research this to see if they've spoken a bit more about how aspects are going to be in the future, because yeah, that sounds interesting. And of course, improvements to the job system and the profiler, that all sounds really nice. So yeah, once again, nice, slow, steady improvements, nothing too drastic, but yeah, so far quite nice.
In parallel, we continue our progress with having ECS integrated more seamlessly with game objects to make data-oriented performance accessible to all Unity projects without requiring complex ECS workflows unless needed. We're continuing to modernize our engine foundations with updating .NET to Core CLR. Core CLR is Microsoft's latest and greatest VM for C#, meaning you'll always be at the cutting edge of performance. And by making this upgrade, we also make it easier to adopt the future version of .NET as Microsoft releases them. We are also modernizing Unity's content pipeline and looking a step change in iteration time.
So yeah, all those really nice things. So of course, the whole thing about integrating ECS and game objects, that is awesome. Again, all of these are marked as features, so no idea when it's coming. All of these are likely Unity 7, so likely only next year. But yeah, they're pretty much repeating the same thing they said. It's also really nice to officially see them talking about Core CLR. Officially, once again, I'm saying that because there was like, I don't know, it was like 2 months ago that Unity had some layoffs, and like one of the primary people in charge of Core CLR, in charge of that migration, apparently left Unity due to some issues. So that caused some people to question, okay, is Core CLR still happening? Yes or no? Or is it going to be canceled just like a bunch of things were canceled at that time? So over here, seeing it here, thankfully, it seems like, yep, it is still on track. So that is meant to be a really nice upgrade to like the core of the engine itself. So yeah, this alone will be hopefully a pretty big improvement. So that's nice. And of course, the content pipeline, basically from what I understand, they are reworking the entire process for how it imports assets and making it a lot more in parts. So like they show on this little demo, they showed this in full screen at one point. Basically, it imports the model in a very low quality. Then slowly, as it's dynamically importing more and more things, it becomes more and more, a bit more clear. So yeah, the content pipeline, changing that one, that should give quite a lot of benefits. Core CLR as well, and ECS for all, yep. So basically all these 3 really awesome things that are coming, I would assume, in Unity 7, so I would assume next year, so still a little bit far away, but at least they are definitely very much headed towards the right place. Hours of reporting 5 gigabytes just to use 1 or 2 files. Well, for that, I would highly recommend you look into the asset inventory asset. That is really awesome, and it really helps solve that problem. You can basically load the entire package into asset inventory, then choose just the things you want and import just those. I gotta say, that asset is definitely one of the best assets I found in the past few years. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's really awesome.
And looking at ambitions, patient time. Our tech stack can scale to large ambitions, and to verify this, we regularly partner with customers, like how we worked with 10 Chambers to empower them to make Den of Wolves, their upcoming co-op heist FPS game. Getting the right performance on all of those devices is great. The next step is really to polish our engine systems across the board. Marc-André.
Thanks, Laurent. We covered platform support and performance across all sorts of devices. Now it's time to talk about how we're improving the engine's core workflows so you can build the richest and most engaging games. 6.0 already contains a huge amount of great features. There's powerful lighting for dynamic objects with adaptive probe volumes, on-device AI capabilities with Sentis, which enables you to do cool things like realistic cloth deformation at runtime with an ML model we train ourselves.
Gotta say, this is still one of the most impressive use cases for Sentis, which is something that I still have not yet seen many use cases, but this use case alone, that kind of makes everything worth it. It is so impressive how they make essentially things that would usually take minutes or hours to generate a single frame. They managed to train a model on it so they can do some very complex cloth deformation using AI directly on device. So that, again, when it comes to Sentis, it still seems very magical, but this is one very practical use case that I always find extremely impressive.
Improve workflows thanks to deeper AI integrations, like this context-aware chat that understands your project and can carry out instructions for common tasks.
Yeah, Muse Chat, I haven't seen it since it was first announced, which was like 1 year ago, I think. So yeah, they've also slowly been improving that. So yeah, I definitely need to find some time to look into it again. Because yeah, the fact that it's now context-aware, that should provide quite a bit more benefits and help you do... Perhaps I think it might be very helpful, specifically in the prototyping stage, just to get a bunch of ideas. So the whole thing about, here's a prefab, place this prefab on various places around the world. So for prototyping, I think it might actually be an interesting tool. So yeah, I definitely need to find some time to look into it because it does seem to have improved quite a bit.
And 2D enhancers that allow you to edit and upscale assets directly in the sprite editor window.
Yeah, this is another one that also seems very interesting, particularly if you have some games that you made like 10 plus years ago. If you have that and you have only those very tiny art assets, then yeah, using this, you could maybe remaster your games, release them again. So yeah, I can see that being a very nice use case.
And of course, lots of quality of life enhancements for productivity across the board, like this asset bundle defaults option.
Okay, I don't know exactly what that is. Asset bundle defaults. Oh, use the default settings so you don't have to specify some settings. All right, okay.
The board, like this asset bundle defaults option. These are the kinds of capabilities that allow great games to go to market. We're really excited about Project Z from 314 Arts. Their team leverages many of the Unity 6 capabilities, such as addressables, SRPs and shader graph, localization, multiplayer hosting, relay, and lobby multiplayer services, to name just a few.
Small catch, you can't upscale your textures, only texture generated by Muse. Oh, is that the case? Ah, if so, that sucks. Wow, that seems like the main use case. That's a very strange limitation. Huh, okay.
So now let's take a look at what's coming next. In our upcoming update releases, our AI assistant is taking productivity to the next level. You will be able to use natural language commands to automate repetitive tasks, scatter objects, rename assets, animate platforms, and much more without manual effort. Chat understands your project context and offers informed answers based on your game objects, components, even Unity documentation. By attaching specific contexts, such as game objects or console errors, you guarantee the AI assistant delivers relevant, actionable solutions. Our AI's ability to generate Unity-ready C# code that's tailored to your needs further reduces time spent debugging, letting you focus on creating.
So interesting. So it generates pre-compiled code. So the good news is that it doesn't generate errors, but again, like I've said many times, personally, I'm not a big fan of asking AI to generate code. So for this, I would be more interested in seeing this particular use case, console errors. So how can it help a beginner solve console errors? But then again, it also has the big issue, which is this is their Muse toolset. And it's awesome to see that they are constantly improving it. But until it has a really nice free tier, it is going to be problematic, let's say. I mean, because for debugging console errors, I think that is something that would be extremely useful for example, for beginners who don't know exactly what they're doing, and they might see an error and just panic, don't know what to do. So that is exactly the kind of people that would likely benefit from Muse. But at the same time, beginners, I would assume, statistically speaking, are likely going to be younger people who likely don't have money, who likely can't afford the, I don't even remember, 20 bucks, is it? Muse, 20 bucks per month. So yeah, based on that, I really wish they had some kind of free tier so that beginners and literally everyone could just try out these tools. Because yeah, it's really awesome to see that they are continuously improving it. That seems super awesome. But yeah, getting to the point where it's awesome enough to be worthy of 20 or apparently 30, wow, 30 bucks a month, ooh, that is tricky to justify. But hey, who knows? If they continue improving it so drastically, maybe one day it gets to a point where it's actually worth it that much. Is that included an industry license? Yeah, I would say for those really expensive licenses, probably should be included, but yeah, so anyways, hopefully one day they create some kind of free tier so that as they keep improving these tools, hopefully at some point they can actually provide those improvements to a lot of people that might actually need them, as opposed to being behind a paywall. That means that quite a lot of people won't quite experience that.
Our generative AI tools are also getting significant upgrades, designed to simplify your workflows and enhance your creative capabilities.
Oh, I just saw this. Okay.
Generator workflows now integrate deeply into Unity, making it easier to manage assets in file inspectors and editors without needing extra steps. For animation, we're keeping the familiar text-to-motion feature for biped characters while expanding capabilities with video and motion support.
Oh, so right away that sounds interesting. So basically, for generating images, sure, that already exists, but the more interesting use case is really the text to animation. And apparently what he said, video to animation, that sounds very interesting. I think that is one of the things that is going to be quite helpful to like indie devs who have no money, who can't afford to do things like mocap. But if you can record the video of yourself doing some kind of animation, then take that video in order to convert it into a nice animation, I think that is going to be very, very helpful. So that is definitely one use case where AI is extremely useful. So for animations, I do think that is going to be really nice. And I'm curious to hear him talk more about this.
Soon, you'll be able to capture nuanced animations simply by recording videos on your smartphone and using those in your prompts.
Nice.
Building upon these advancements, sprites are improving with a comprehensive library of pre-trained LoRa models tailored to specific use cases. Think icons, props, platformer backgrounds, or characters. You also get the flexibility to train your own custom models using various AI foundation models, so you can create bespoke assets aligned to your game's needs. And if sound is what you're looking for, our experimental tool for generating audio clips is about to graduate to production.
Nice.
It'll allow you to produce short game scene soundtracks directly within Unity.
Oh, he said soundtracks. Does that involve music or just sound effects? I would assume it's just sound effects. Okay.
As we look ahead, the possibilities continue to expand. Coming later, you'll have access to asset generation for 3D meshes, textures, even skyboxes, giving you the power to create almost any asset needed right when you need it.
So yeah, all of these tools, I would say for production, they're probably not going to be good enough. So you're probably going to want to replace these with things made by proper 3D modelists, proper artists, proper sound effects artists. For production, I think you're going to need that. But for prototyping, I think these tools are quite nice. And again, kind of goes back to the same thing that I was saying, which is the people this would most be useful for would be like students, people just getting started, so you don't have to constantly alt-tab back and forth between Unity and like the asset store to pick up a free asset to do something. If you can just use some text, generate something that is very good for a quick prototype, just use that until you validate the idea. I think that is really awesome. But once again, putting it all behind a $30 per month paywall, that really limits things, regardless of how good it is. So yeah, that is always, no matter how I see these improvements being quite nice, yeah, at the fact that fact cannot leave my head. So I'm constantly seeing, might be awesome, but is it $30 a month awesome? That's hard to swallow.
This efficiency carries into UI design as well. We're advancing UI Toolkit to empower richer UI experiences. Soon, you'll be able to render UI directly in world space for immersive XR in gaming environments. Post-processing filters like blur effects or color shift for subsections of your UI are fully integrated with the render chain, ensuring visuals remain sharp at any size or distance.
That's
And
good.
for customizations, you can modify the UI Uber shader without recreating it, allowing detailed adjustments to text, graphics, and textures through familiar shader graph workflows.
Okay, so those are all, I mean, UI toolkit is something that is very interesting. I've used it quite a bit by now at this point by doing my CodeMonkey toolkit, by making the companion project for my C# course, for the Netcode for NDs course, and so on. So for building all those things, for building editor tools, I've used UI toolkit and I really enjoyed working with it. But when it comes to real-time world space UI, for runtime UI, for that I still very much prefer Unity UI. But it is interesting to see them continue to improve upon that use case. Although, yeah, something they mentioned, I think it was on Unite, where they talk about at the roadmap for potentially for the future would be to deprecate Unity UI in favor of UI Toolkit. And for that, I really hope that they don't do that, because even if they continue improving UI Toolkit, I'm already so familiar with Unity UI that I really don't want to give up on that knowledge. It's a great tool that still works very well. So in order to force me to move over to UI Toolkit, it really has to be insanely better, and I'm not sure how exactly they can do that. So it's nice that they're continuing to improve it. I hope they continue doing that, but I also hope they don't take Unity UI away from me. So yeah, for me right now, I love Unity UI for runtime, and I love UI Toolkit for making editor tools. So having each of those tools for each of those things, really nice. But it's also great how if you want to use UI Toolkit, if you want to use just one tool and use it for both editor UI and in-game UI, it's awesome how apparently you can do that. And the whole thing about custom shaders, I believe using custom shaders in the regular UI, that is somewhat tricky. So yeah, seeing these improvements, really nice. Hey, Aryan Chaudhary. Hey, thank you so much for the super thanks. Thank you so much. Nice, thank you. Yeah.
To make your design scalable.
And vector graphics, also nice. That is, yeah, that might be a very important benefit to some people, yeah. Having vector graphics in your UI, especially your world space UI, that can be interesting. So, okay.
And optimized, vector graphics will offer resolution-independent, high-performance assets that remain sharp across devices, from mobile screens to high-res displays. And will extend accessibility capabilities to the desktop and integrating screen reader support into UI Toolkit, so your games can reach visually impaired players with less effort on your part.
Oh, that's interesting. I gotta say, I have no idea what is improved accessibility with native screen reader. So is that like yeah, I guess it's the Windows and macOS screen reader. So apparently this way, it is going to work automatically with Unity games. Okay, I had no idea that was a thing, but that sounds really nice, yeah. So basically, as a developer, you don't have to do anything extra in order to have people who are using a screen reader to play your game. Okay, so more accessibility. That sounds nice. Okay, nice benefit.
Coming soon
And
as
what was the other one? Sorry, I missed it. UI Toolkit. Oh yeah, integration with UI Toolkit. Okay, yeah.
your part. Coming soon as a preview in Unity 6.x, our new animation system.
Oh.
Your animations are getting a major boost with tools that save time and engineering resources during production. Procedural and runtime rigging now works for all skeletal asset types, not just characters. You'll be able to remap animations across assets, even if their size, hierarchy, or proportions differ, drastically reducing your need for custom clips. Additionally,
Okay, so that new animation tool, it says 6.x. So that is actually good news, because I thought the new animation tool was only coming in like Unity 7 next year. But apparently if it says 6.x, perhaps this might be out later this year on like 6.2. So yeah, the new animation tool is something they've mentioned a few times and it seems really impressive. So yeah, perhaps this one might be coming sooner than I thought. So yeah, retiring the animations, making it much easier to handle skeletons, animation blending, that's nice, and remapping even with different sized meshes. Oh. Okay, so perhaps preview and that and only fully out afterwards. Okay, but either way, it does seem to be nice. So, I mean, but even if it is only in preview, that still is. I mean, I was thinking we were only going to see it in Unity 7 at all. So yeah, if we get it a little bit earlier. That seems nice. So yeah, good news.
Drastically reducing your need for custom clips. Additionally, features like per-bone masking and flexible attachment sockets make managing animations with varying equipment or characters much easier. The new and improved hierarchical state machine is built to handle thousands of states, blend graphs, and transitions while maintaining impressive performance, even with large-scale scenes populated by hundreds or thousands of characters and events. On the right, you can see a quick test of 1,000 knights and 40,000 arrows running on this new system with 30 frames per second in the editor.
Yeah, again, super impressive. And yep, this is meant to be the new system that is meant to be based on ECS, which yeah, I thought was further away, but might be closer than we thought because yeah, these seem super important, like in terms of performance, some extreme performance, that is really great. So yeah, very curious to see this.
And speaking of performance, our physics tools are evolving to support every type of project. In 6.0, you can already choose between Havoc or Unity Physics for ECS, or stick with built-in physics for game object-centric projects. Swappable backend will expand these options, making it easier to integrate with third-party engines like PhysX5, Mujoko, or Bullet. Unity Physics itself is getting upgraded with new solvers and tooling that enable more complex and reliable physics behaviors. Looking further ahead, we're crafting experimental features like a vehicle character controller for ECS projects, compatible with Havoc and Unity Physics, to unlock even more advanced gameplay possibilities. All these development efficiencies.
So yeah, all of these, Unity Physics, once again, says 6.x, doesn't say 7, doesn't say future. So yeah, swapping the backends, that is interesting, very much a niche use case, but yeah, physics improvements, great. And yeah, making an ECS vehicle controller, that would be great. Even though they did make the ECS character controller, I'm pretty sure that is already a production ready package, although I haven't quite looked into it, but yeah, having that one is great, and having an NT's vehicle controller also great, and compatible with both types of physics, so nice.
Abilities. All these development efficiencies extend to your CI/CD pipelines as well. In 6.1, Unity build automation is now integrated directly in the editor, accelerating iteration circles with cloud builds for the platforms listed here. We're also working on improving collaboration between developers, artists, or anyone on your team. Soon, you'll be able to edit files and projects locally, while revisions are synced automatically to the cloud, keeping teams aligned while easing developer workflows, wherever your files may be, in the editor or in the cloud, the hub, wherever it makes sense for you.
Thank you, Marc-André.
Okay, so those collaboration tools do seem interesting. So yeah, for me, I've never really worked as part of a team, but I imagine that asset management is one of the big issues. So yeah, I think this is the asset management tool that they've announced quite a while ago, and they showed it. So yeah, it should be an interesting benefit. And yeah, build automations, I imagine this is super useful for teams working on large games where it takes quite a while to build. So yeah, being able to build in the cloud for all these targets, so WebGL, Windows, Mac, Android, iOS, and Xbox. So no PlayStation. Okay, but yeah, once again, nice improvements, not flashy, but nice improvements that are probably going to help quite a lot of people. Get plus Unity plus more than one person, that is chaos, yeah. Hey, I'm happy you're here. Thank you, nice. Not free, isn't there? Oh, the build, okay, yeah. Yeah, I imagine they have some kind of limit like all their other Unity gaming services tools, but in general, seems like a nice tool.
In the cloud, the hub, wherever it makes sense for you.
Thank you, Marc-André. We talked about how we give you the control you need to get the best titles to all of those platforms. But shipping is not the end game, pun intended. This is a topic that is dear to my heart. You need to run games for years to maximize your success. And we're taking more steps in pre-integrating live games features to make it easier for you to do so. In Unity 6.0, we've really made the engine a first-class multiplayer. And to us, it meant bringing together all of the capabilities you need for a multiplayer game into a seamless end-to-end workflow. To start, Multiplayer Center provides streamlined guidance to onboard you into multiplayer development by providing access to the tools and services for your project's specific needs. You simply answer a few questions about your project. You start with genre and player count, and that's enough to get a first recommendation. And you can then refine this with gameplay pace, preventing cheating importance, cost sensitivity, netcode architecture. You can then automatically install the packages you need, like netcodes, multiplayer services, communication services, and you can experiment with those features throughout game production quickly thanks to pre-assembled features we call widgets.
I have to say, the Multiplayer Center is definitely one of the best things they did recently, just because there are so many multiplayer tools that, I mean, for me, since I follow this stuff, it is very easy for me to know all the tools that they have and all the things that they do. But I imagine for someone just coming into Unity, seeing, okay, Unity has like 20 different tools, what on earth do all of these do? What exactly do I need? That can be very intimidating. So I do think that the Multiplayer Center is definitely an excellent thing. Basically puts all those tools in one place with a nice little quick description on what exactly they do, what is the relay, what is the lobby, and so on. So yeah, I do think that one, I imagine for multiplayer onboarding for people who don't understand any of these tools, I think that is very useful. So yeah, I'm very happy they built that. And over here, multiplayer play mode, also absolutely excellent. One of the best things they did recently. So yeah, in terms of multiplayer, things have drastically improved in the past 10 years, but even more so in just the past like 1 to 2 years. Things have gotten quite a lot better, so that was good.
Multiplayer play mode is another amazing workflow of 6.0. You can validate and test your gameplay using real conditions thanks to spawning up to 4 independent light editor processes without leaving the Unity editor, without code. And it supports custom steps such as deployment to multiplayer hosting or your own solution.
Yeah.
We included distributed authority as a beta in Unity 6.0 to support the creation of resilient and cost-efficient client-hosted games using netcode for game objects. This is a new network topology that shares authority across all clients, providing low complexity with no servers or configuration, enabling larger simulation, higher player count, and supporting host migration by default.
Oh, that was interesting. I didn't know that. So if you use distributed authority, it has, well, I guess it makes sense. It has host migration by default, which has been one of the most requested things for quite a while. So yeah, host migration, definitely. It's nice to know that it's usable by default on distributed authority. I have to say that's one thing that I haven't yet looked into it, but it definitely sounds, it sounds like it might be the new best default, I would say. But because at least from as far as I've seen, it doesn't seem to have that many downsides. So yeah, definitely something that I have to look into. I've only looked into the normal authority, just server authority. So yeah, that one seems very impressive. Hey, thanks for the super chat. For great videos and hours of work and dedication to make them usable for knuckle draggers like myself. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for watching the videos. I hope my videos have helped you quite a lot. So yeah. Thank you so much. Nice. Yeah. Keep watching and I will keep making them. So yeah, thank you all. All right.
With both netcode for game object or netcode for entities, you have a choice of frameworks designed to reduce the complexity of building a network gameplay. When coupled with multiplayer hosting, you get a game server hosting that provides the performance you need to deliver consistent gameplay to let your players play whenever they want, whenever they are. We included a unified session management solution for connecting players together before, during, and after the game. This includes most of the Unity services for easy development, minimal code writing needed. You can authenticate users across platform, either anonymously or platform-specific, with a state-of-the-art matchmaking and lobby to boost player engagement. And we started integrating Vivox voice chat and Vivox text chat, so you can build communities with a scalable and cost-friendly service that connects your players across platforms. This is the sort of integration that speeds up so much the work to bring together a game like Degenheim from Hyra Studio. They started out with a mix of solutions of third-party assets, but ultimately opted to use the complete multiplayer ecosystem that's already pre-integrated in Unity 6.0. And it's a long list. Netcode, multiplayer hosting, authentication, matchmaker, analytics, remote config, cloud save, version control. If you watched the last Unite keynote, you might remember the Strawberry Man on stage. That was actually fantastic. Milan explained that as an indie startup, this unlocks big studio possibilities and abstract away the complexity, allowing them to focus on what they love, the game itself. And
yeah, the fact that they have so many tools and they're just one thing that you can really use, especially what I mentioned about the unified package, where literally just puts all those tools, which used to be all in separate packages, now they're in just one package, even though all the code is the same. So the tutorial that I did on Lobby in Real like 2 years ago, that is still valid on new package. You just install a new package and everything works. So yeah, the fact that you have all these tools in one place, that is definitely really awesome. And yeah, like I said, basically allows you to focus on making the game itself as opposed to building the entire multiplayer network infrastructure. So that is a great benefit.
And this means, to us, that we need to continue that work further. Along this line, the feedback we've got about Multiplayer Center is that it could be so much more powerful if it included some elements of gameplay and coverage into the live ops space. This is why we're working at turning it into something greater, Project Center. Okay. Imagine a development experience where, through Project Center, you can accelerate prototyping and pre-production by having a curated set of production-proven first-party and third-party assets, features, and services from the entire Unity ecosystem recommended to you. Not only that, by having Project Center guide you through experimenting with the most relevant solutions. Everything you need is conveniently surfaced within your workflow. Similarly to the concept of multiplayer widgets, instead of constantly reinventing the wheel, you can use Unity's ready-to-use building blocks for your core gameplay loop, multiplayer service, and live operation services to experiment, iterate, and bring your ideas to life. You can assemble in minutes early versions of games meant to live for many years.
Oh, so yeah, improving the multiplayer center into something that is quite a bit more useful, has quite a bit more use cases as opposed to just those. So yeah, that seems like an interesting improvement. Just trying to see what is that little image over there showing? Okay, recommendations for 3D multiple. Ah, no, go back. I want to see the image. So what does that say? It says, okay, input system mobile setup, and you can just import it. Then a character controller 3D, just important. Then some weapons and a text chat and lobby. Okay, so yeah. So basically just importing piece by piece all the pieces that you need. So yeah, that is nice to have all these building blocks in one place. Nice. Okay, that's a good improvement. I mean, the multiplayer center was already quite useful. So yeah, expanding that same concept, that same idea to an entire project, not necessarily just multiplayer. That is interesting. Okay, I'm curious to see that.
For multiplayer creation, our immediate next step are about consolidating the Unity 6.0 stack. Distributed authority for netcode for game object is now fully released. And we are at work on a host migration service for netcode for entities. Once we get there, we'll have good client-hosted support regardless of your netcode choices.
Okay.
We're also improving our matchmaker integrations, adding a widget for it. But something I'm pretty excited about is our progress with guaranteeing burst determinism across CPU architecture. That would unlock all of the situations for which you want to build a custom netcode stack with cross-CPU architecture deterministic requirements for demanding genres, such as fighting games, sport games, or RTS. That's pretty cool. Regarding our deployment workflows, we're working at fully supporting deployment to ARM64 game servers to give you cheaper options for running headless Unity runtimes as a dedicated server, whether that's with multiplayer or your own stack. We're making it simpler to test multiplayer hosting locally and allowing you to use multiplayer play mode directly on Android devices. And this is only the short term. Our longer-term target.
So, multiplayer on localhost and Android. So basically, kind of multiplayer play mode on Android. So you can have a multiplayer play mode window that gets spawned on your Android device, and then you can play on your Android device and then your desktop at the same time. Wow, that sounds very impressive. That sounds very good for making multiplayer development, specifically on mobile, much easier. Wow, that sounds very impressive because as far as I understand, for mobile, it usually takes quite a while to basically make the build to test on the device. That's why they made the device simulator to improve that iteration speed by quite a bit. But yeah, if you can make the multiplayer play mode the way that it works right now on desktop, but work it on mobile, that sounds very impressive, yeah. And distributed authority and host migration working also on netcode for entities, so that is interesting. I believe their plan is for in the future to kind of merge both at the same time instead of having just netcode for VM objects and netcode for entities. I think I saw that in the previous roadmap. I believe the goal is basically to merge those two so they exist in just one thing. So basically, then it will get all the improvements. So distributed authority and host migration, which apparently right now exists for netcode for VM objects, but not for entities. But if they merge both those, that could be interesting. So yeah, okay, so far so good.
Is to converge the various netcode stack and expand our netcode architecture to more game genres with deterministic lockstep. So you don't have to rely on custom netcodes for this anymore.
Okay, so if you want to make like some kind of fighting game with rollback netcode, apparently in the future. Okay. All right, so far so good. Nice, yeah. About URP and HRP in detail. Not really. I mean, those two are really just about shader difference. 99% of it is going to be the same. So yeah, in UT7 doesn't look nice. Oh, hey, Mr. Awesome. Hey, nice. Yeah. Deterministic physics. They did mention burst determinism, which should be a very important thing for especially some kind of multiplayer games. Yeah, if burst is deterministic, then hopefully that means deterministic physics so you can roll back and forth. Could be quite interesting.
Creating multiplayer games is becoming easier, and Unity is making operating them a breeze too. Unity 6.0 integrates those two cutting-edge multiplayer services that powers some of the biggest titles on the market. Multiplayer game server hosting is expanding its self-serve offering with improved observability, DDoS protection, and we're making it easier than ever to interoperate with other Unity services through session extensibility. Even better, we're extending game server hosting to support web games.
Oh, good.
Vivox is also evolving with more investment in audio quality, improvements, easier integration path for third-party audio engines, lip syncing, and more. We also provide a new API to help you manage text channels within your game. A live title is also about optimizing your game in real time. The Unity LiveOps ecosystem is being more deeply integrated in the engine to push even further the concept of end-to-end live game support. Our cloud save and cloud code services are being improved so you can structure your game backend more efficiently. And we're working at bringing together all of our services behind a unified release workflow to make it simpler to ship any new live content to your players. And finally, we're investing in building better real-time analytics that brings together the best data from all of the Unity services so you can make data-driven decisions about your game and players' experiences. We want to provide you with market insights, including performance, retention, engagement, and in-app purchase benchmarking.
Okay.
With such a fast evolution of Unity Engine to support end-to-end live games, we expect to see so many more of your games going to market in successful ways. We can't wait to play the titles that are already being built on Unity 6, like Silica from Bohemia Interactive. So, to recap, we are doubling down on our platform partnerships to continue giving you access to the widest audience in gaming. We're staying focused on maximizing the performance you get and you can achieve on all of those devices. We're updating the engine across the board with more powerful features. We're evolving Unity Engine to truly embrace the lifecycle of live games. And we are doing all of this with production verification in mind at each step of the way. With this, we would like to close this session with another call to action for us to have a conversation about our roadmap on discussion. Unity 6.1 beta is already available, and we're impatient to see what you make with Unity 6. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so basically to sum up, I think they are kind of doing what people have asked them to do for quite a long time, which is focus on performance, stability, and so on. And it seems like that's mainly what they're going. And yeah, the main thing is really just giving a new branding to production verification. So the way that they are actually working with various developers in order to validate that all those features work as intended. So it's awesome that they've been doing this for a long time. It's awesome that they are now doing it and perhaps talking about it a little bit more publicly. But yeah, so 6.1 should be coming out at some point in the future. And yeah, in general, a lot of just minor improvements. So nothing too flashy, but all just nice improvements. I think the word performance was mentioned like 50 times, so that does sound quite nice. Definitely sounds like they are focusing on the things that people want them to focus on. So yeah, nothing bombastic, just nice, slow improvements across the board. And yeah, of course, LR is apparently still ongoing. So yeah, that was something that I was concerned about. Is it going to come or not? But yep, it's still right here. So .NET, Course LR. So this is still in the future. So still probably something only coming next year, I would assume. So yeah, the whole ECS for all. So merging game object and ECS, .NET with Course LR, the upgraded content pipeline. Yeah, these are definitely going to be very important things, but still very much in the future. So for the near future, seems like general improvements across the board. AI is improving quite a lot, but again, the usual thing, doesn't matter how much it improves, considering the paywall, that really makes it a tough pill to swallow. So yeah, even though these continue improving, still quite tricky. UI toolkit improving, that is nice. Native screen reader, I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently quite nice. Oh yeah, and perhaps the biggest surprise of all, which is how apparently the new dots-based animation system might be closer than it seems. So yeah, previously they were talking about this like still being very far away, whereas now they're talking about it 6.x, which I would assume potentially means like 6.2. And if they are going to launch, let's say right now in April, if they are now going to launch 6.1, then yeah, I would assume right around, I don't know, September, October, November, around this time, probably launching 6.2. So perhaps this might be included in that, or perhaps early next year. But yeah, definitely seems to be perhaps a little bit closer than previously thought. And yeah, this one definitely, the new dots animation system, that seems like a massive upgrade. This seems like something that is going to be a really big boost to pretty much every game. I mean, almost every game uses animations in some way. So yeah, that is going to be a nice one. Then some new packages, the ECS vehicle controller. I think that is going to be interesting. So yeah, and lots of stuff on basically just merging multiplayer. Again, nothing too flashy, just polishing up all the things that they already have. That is nice. Upgrading to the little project simulator thing, the project center. That seems quite interesting. So yeah, in general, it does seem exactly what people have wanted. So yeah, improvements, nice, slow, steady. So yeah, seems like the Unity 6 is already quite nice, and the future seems quite interesting. They talk about ECS-based terrain. Nope, that one definitely did not show up here. So yeah, I don't know what is going on with that one. Didn't they, like there were the layoffs, which I think hit mainly the behavior team. I don't think if I read something about the ECS terrain team. So I'm not sure if that one is still going, but yeah, that one not mentioned here, so not sure how exactly it's going to be, but yeah, this will, interesting. That animation will be node-based. You mean like Mechanism exists? Like you've got the various nodes, the state machines? Yep, I would assume it is going to have that, and I'm pretty sure on the dots animation they did mention that. Where is it? Somewhere in there. Yeah, there you go. It's only got the hierarchical state machine, so you still have the various states, move them around the states and so on. The built-in LOD generation, yep, they mentioned that, and I believe it said 6.x, but yeah, the LOD, which was a really impressive one actually, was before this. It was somewhere around here, but yeah, they definitely did mention the automatic LOD. I think it was, yeah, I think someone mentioned that it was in beta in 6.2. So yeah, the automatic mesh generation, the mesh LOD, that should be coming relatively soon. Okay, there you go, right there, which yeah, says 6.x, so potentially on 6.2, so potentially by the end of this year. And yeah, this one does seem quite impressive, how it automatically generates the LODs and really takes it down from 81 million triangles to 4.5. So yeah, that seems quite impressive. Can we have our hands on that? So 6.1, that should be coming out sometime in the near future. So I would guess somewhere in April. Then I would guess 6.2, which they haven't mentioned at all. So that's literally just a guess. 6.2, I would guess by the end of this year. Unite, they've already announced Unite. Unity Unite 2025. Thanks so much for the super chat. Thank you. Yeah, Unite 2025 is in Barcelona in November. So if I had to guess, I would say that 6.2 is going to be coming out around this time. Probably like a week before or a week after, something like that. So yeah, that would be my guess. Again, there's no official word on it. So 6.1 coming soon, 6.2 some point in the future, and then what will eventually be called Unity 7 sometime next year. So yeah, definitely quite a lot of things. Indiedev already has video on. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, seems like Unity 6.2 is already in alpha, I think. So 6.1 is in beta, so you can use it right now and test out some of these tools. They should already be live there. And then 6.2 is on alpha, so I'm not sure what features they already have, but yeah, if you want to try those out, you can. Let's say thank you for the free course that I'm going through and learning now. Nice. Upgrade the until later, running 22 now for the course. That's awesome. Yeah, great job on on following my instructions and using the right version, because yeah, that is something that especially if you are a beginner, then using the exact same version using tutorial, that is going to help you quite a lot, help avoid quite a lot of confusion. So yeah, great job on doing exactly that, because there are some people who are like, I'm following this course, but I installed Unity 6 and things are different. Yeah, that's kind of the issue with the version. That's why I recommend follow the course using the exact same version. Then at the end, you can upgrade and you can learn about the 5% of things that are different between each version. But yeah, awesome. I'm glad you're learning. So yeah, this is definitely going to be quite interesting. Use AGRP because one of my game to look distance, should I use URP instead? That depends on your build targets. Are you trying to make a mobile game? If so, use URP. Are you trying to make a PC or console game and trying to target more high-end stuff? If so, then yeah, you can go for AGRP. So basically, it really just depends on what is your target. AGRP will pretty much by default always look better, but has higher requirements. So depending on your target, if you're only targeting the high-end things, then yeah, going for AGRP might give you the best visual. So yeah, unless you're learning Blender, Substance Painter, and VFX. Okay. What about those skills becoming useless soon due to AI? Well, I really doubt that, specifically on those skills. I mean, AI is still very, very far from being able to produce good 3D models. So yeah, they actually had a section over here. And yeah, when it comes to AI for 3D models, yeah, AI is not going to generate a model just like this. No, it is going to generate something much worse. So 3D modelers are still very safe from AI, and especially VFX. I don't think I've ever seen any AI that makes VFX. So for that, I would say those skills are still very, very valuable, still nowadays, and still going to be for quite a while. So yeah, for me, when it comes to AI, I would say definitely don't be worried about those skills. Those skills are still definitely quite helpful. Hope AI can raise my family one day. Hey, maybe when it gets to super AGI, maybe it will be smart enough to raise a family. That is really going to be the future, which is either going to be a utopia or dystopia. Still not sure which is going to be, but yeah, I guess I guess we shall see. What do you guys think of the following? Unity stays what it is, bugs are fixed, and the entire budget they have is used to produce assets for people to use under the same contract. So you want Unity to produce assets? I don't think they have the people to produce assets. Like, they don't necessarily hire a mountain of artists and so on. So yeah, I really want Unity to focus on what they do best. Focus on building the engine, then let developers build assets, build those kinds of things. So yeah, kind of like goes back to the same thing about dogfooding their own engine. So yeah, I prefer that they work with external game devs that know how to make games. So work with those, work together with them in order to get feedback on how to improve the engine, as opposed to trying to build a team to build their own engine. I mean, Gigaio was looking really awesome, but yeah, that was definitely far away from their core competency. So yeah, them trying to do that. If they had infinite money, if they had Fortnite money, I would like them to do that. But if they are limited in in the resource they have, then yeah, I would rather they focus on this resource on trying to improve the engine, which then is going to improve the usability for the engine for pretty much every developer around. So yeah. Tried to test the AI and talked about that. Even though AI can generate good assets, still need an artist skill to point the right way. So it sounds like literally the same thing as a programmer. Basically, if you are a beginner who has no knowledge of programming, it can seem really impressive when you ask the AI and it actually generates you code that actually works, but only if you hire a programmer, only if you have the experience can you see all of the various pitfalls on all the code that the AI generated. Like just a few days ago, I was answering a comment in one of my videos, someone saying they had zero programming experience and they used AI and vibe coding to generate a class that was like 1,400 lines long, and they were saying, hey, it works fine. To which I would say, okay, to a beginner, it might seem that it works fine, but if you keep building upon it, I would say you're probably going to come across a lot of issues. A lot of issues that if you don't have experience, you can't really identify that the code has all those potential problems. But if you have experience, then you can see, okay, this is doing quite a lot of things that might not be a problem right now, but will definitely become a problem in the future. So yeah, it's interesting to see how apparently in terms of art, is the same thing. I mean, it's kind of like what I was saying over here talking about these AI tools. I think these AI tools are really awesome for the prototyping stage. If you want to make a prototype very quickly and you don't want to have just boring boxes, then yeah, all of these AI generation tools, especially if they are built directly into the editor, those sound really awesome for speeding up the iteration on a prototype. Instead of having boring boxes, just saying, generate me some kind of Jeep, some kind of 2D image of a boat in the background and so on. That can make your prototypes much better. But then if you're going into actual production, if you're going to actually publishing a game on Steam, console, whatever, then at that point you probably want to replace those AI-generated assets with something that actually looks proper. Or at least right now, AI is not good enough to look fine and proper. So it's great for prototypes, not great for the final thing. So yeah. And yeah, decent at creating things in isolation, but as soon as you fit it into a large system, run into terror. Yep, that is definitely the issue. Definitely has that problem. So yeah. Oh, interesting. Anyone tried ProBuild 6? They changed the layout. Now it's much easier to handle and use it. That's interesting because I've heard, I haven't used it much just because I don't use ProBuild that much, but I've heard literally the opposite on how now it's harder to find all the menus. So, okay, nice to see that. So I guess conflicting feedback perhaps. Yeah, good. Okay. Plan on new ECS content. Not sure. I mean, there's definitely quite a lot of things that I would like to do, but yeah, my to-do list is always massive. I always got to pick and choose what am I going to work on next. So in terms of ECS, not sure, at least not in the near future. Quite a lot of other things that I want to get to before that, but yeah, ECS definitely awesome. Definitely going to be very important in the future. So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue doing that. Okay. Of course, building a custom ECS system within Unreal and Unity. Oh, seriously integrating that into traditional workflows after model behavior. Not sure how to begin. Okay, right away, that sounds like a massive project. So, how to begin? Basically, look at implementations of a custom ECS system and then try to build an entity, then try to build a system, then try to build a query that queries on those entities. Although I would question, why are you trying to do that? If you're doing it for learning purposes, that sounds awesome. But if you're doing it to try to make a game after you build, that's kind of like the whole thing about, do you want to make games or do you want to build an engine? You kind of have to pick between one or the other. It is very difficult to make both an engine and make a game. So usually you got to pick. And yeah, usually if you want to make games, just make games. If you want to make engines, just make engines. Unless you're trying to do it just for fun, just for learning purposes. If so, then yeah, that can be a very interesting thing. Yeah. Yeah, ChatGPT helped me find pathfinding for months, right? Nice, yeah. That is definitely a good use case. Okay, so yeah, fun, interesting roadmap. Nothing too flashy, but lots of nice, interesting, tiny improvements. So yeah, the 2025 GDC roadmap, that is interesting. And then later on today, there's this one, which I'm very curious to see. So live in 2 hours, this is the Unity CEO Q&A hosted by Major Nelson. So I'm very curious to see, because usually the new CEO, he seemed very straightforward. So I'm very curious to see all the questions and all the answers. So that should be a very interesting live stream. And I'm definitely going to do a live stream looking at it. So this is in I think it's at 7 p.m. What time is it? So it's in 2.5 hours. Okay, so that should be interesting. Nope, it's apparently not hosted by Jackson, so I'm guessing they're going to be physically together, and I don't think Jackson is at GDC, so I guess that I would assume that is why. But yeah, should be an interesting live stream. So yeah, I definitely want to do that. So if you want to see, oh, look at that, my Windows update is trying to update. No, don't update, don't annoy me. So yeah, if you're not tired of hearing from me just yet, then yeah, I will be live in a few hours to watch this and see what is going to be. It should be an interesting conversation. But yeah, in the meantime, I definitely have to go rest my voice, and I will be back in about 2.5 hours, which should be interesting. Yeah, be at Unite Barcelona. Yeah, I will definitely be there. So that should be quite fun. I mean, it was quite fun last year. The event was quite interesting. The physical location was also quite interesting, and Barcelona is always really nice. So yeah, that should be fun this year. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna just rest my voice for a little bit. I really gotta shut up, stop talking, and yeah. So I guess in about 2 hours, I will be here. So 7 p.m. GMT should be interesting. Okay, so yeah, I will see you all in a little bit. So enjoy your time, enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you do. And yep, I will see you all in a bit. All right, so see you in a bit. Bye bye, everyone.